welcome to the video. I'm Melissa, I write books. This is episode 2 of my Preptober mini-series. You didn't know that it was a mini-series, but it is. Are you impressed that I'm doing an intro? Everyone! Anyway, if you're brand spanking new, this is my, I think, probably third time doing an official Preptober in preparation for November, doing like writing 50,000 words of a new book in November. However many you're gonna write, whatever your heart desires. In this video, we are brainstorming a new book. So something I wanna differentiate right off the bat, the difference between brainstorming and outlining. I also am gonna add in the category of daydreaming. These are all arbitrary, I made them up. Everything is made up. In my mind, the ideation of a book typically starts with daydreaming or like a point of inspiration, something. It's just like the first thing that you hook onto when you decide to write a book. Thoughts float through, that's the daydreaming. You're thinking, what kind of tropes do I like? What kind of characters do I like? Have I seen something random on TikTok that's gonna spark a whole novel? You know, the daydreaming phase can last for months. It's just like the time in my mind where the project is dormant. And so you haven't started it yet, but it like exists in the back of your mind, right? So I have been doing the daydreaming stage, I would say since, I don't know, I think I maybe thought of the idea sometime during the summer. I honestly don't remember the exact moment, but here and there when I've been frustrated with my current book, I will think about like what's next, right? And so in the daydream phase, I thought about like themes that I like, which is weird because I never start with theme. But for this book, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a spot right now where I want to explore the theme of positivity and joy, because I consider myself to be a very positive person, and like the whole concept of toxic positivity has always really intrigued me, because I'm like, I think I tend to have an optimistic outlook on things, but I don't feel that I'm toxically positive, and like where does that line come? And less of like in a social media lens, but more in like with yourself. Is it a problem to be toxically positive about your circumstance? You know, like just like that topic is really interesting to me. And also the other part of the daydreaming process that I like kind of tied with that was I write thriller, and elements of thrillers that I enjoy are like not murder mystery. There's a lot of different types of thrillers, and I know that I'm not at this point in my life writing a murder mystery. I also don't like horror, which I know is not the same thing as a thriller, but like horror thriller sometimes gets mashed together. And I also know there's kind of this trend happening with thriller right now, which is fine, but it's like girl boss murderers, you know? But I'm not really in the girl boss murderers camp either. And I also know that I like comedy. So I was like, okay, so going back, elements, like types of thrillers that I enjoy are thrillers that have like a lot of like hostage situations and kidnappings. I do talk about kidnapping quite frequently, to the extent where it was my 1-year anniversary at my job, and I get like a little card where everybody from my workplace like writes a little like, oh, like, we've loved working with you this last year so far, like so excited for the future. But then like half of them mentioned me talking about kidnapping. So that is happening. And then I thought like kind of an interesting thrillery way to visualize, like if we're taking the theme of positivity and thinking like, I'm picturing a character who is like, maybe things are not going well, but is like a very positive person and will like view everything in life as like, this is how it's supposed to happen, everything is good, which I often am that person. Like I do actually believe like you can find happiness in any circumstance, even if it's small pieces of happiness. But like, what if we take that person and we put them in like they get kidnapped? Like how does that person operate in that environment? We're taking kidnapping as an extreme to like maybe a poor life circumstance, right? But then that sounds like a very serious like literary fiction, which is not what I write. I write thrillers that often operate like rom-coms. So then I was like, okay, how do I turn that into like a dual POV romance kidnapping book? But here's the catch, I don't want to write a Stockholm Syndrome book. And also I don't write smut. So there's like a lot of the kidnapping romance, like if you type in kidnap romance onto your Kindle, you're gonna find a lot of naked men, okay? And women. You're gonna find the naked people on the covers if you type that in, and that's not, I don't wanna write a book where it's like, I get kidnapped and then I sort of liked it, which I think that can easily happen with this type of idea. Anyway, so then I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, what are ways, like what situation can he be in? Like, do they get kidnapped together? Is he kidnapping her, but he doesn't really, like, they kidnapped the wrong person? Like, what, like, how can we get there? So that's kind of the daydreaming phase. All of those things I was just kind of thinking about. And I think the daydreaming phase ends when you have like enough elements to start a story. So earlier this week, which is the clips that I believe you just saw if I'm editing this video the way that I think I am, I'm using the Dahlia Paper Company journal, the Planter journal, to brainstorm some character traits and some bigger themes. And like those are, I would say, in the daydream. And now I think I'm entering the brainstorm phase, which is for me taking these elements from this daydream, you could call it brainstorming, I'm not gonna police what you call it, taking that and like writing out, fleshing out what are different ways that this story can go and which one do I want to pursue. And then once you have brainstormed and you've narrowed down the idea into like a beginning, a middle, and an end, then I will go into outlining. But today, this video is about brainstorming. So now that I have like these elements of a thriller where I'm like, okay, I want it to be a dual POV romance that's kind of has some comedy in it maybe. And I know that I have this toxically positive woman and this man who is like somehow related to kidnapping her. I think about what I want to be happening for most of this book. I don't want her to be in like a dungeon for the whole book. The fun and games of this book is kidnapping, which that's what it is. And grappling with that and operating within that, you know? Because there's a lot of interesting kidnapping tropes that I want to play with a little bit, because I think a lot of kidnapping books like get really, really dark or really weird. I've read a lot of kidnapping books at this point in my life. Someone is gonna watch this and be like, who is this woman and why is she obsessed with kidnapping? I'm not. I'm fascinated with what it does to characters and how the part of people that it brings out in books, not in real life. So now that I have that, now I'm going to do what I call a discovery outline. If you want like my take on how to write an entire book from beginning to end, which after listening to me talking about kidnapping for 5 minutes, I don't know why you would want that, but I have a video that's like how to write a book, I guess, I think is what it's called. And it's like from this ideation point all the way to a query letter or publishing or whatever you want to do. You can check that out if you want more details. But I'm going to be doing what I call a discovery outline. I'm going to do 2 or 3 of them where I set a timer for like 25 minutes or 15 minutes. I don't know how long it'll take. And I just write out essentially a summary from beginning to end what happens in this potential book. And then I set another timer and I write a whole different version, still with those same ingredients, and I figure out like which one of these do I want. Often I take pieces of each and put them together, but that's what I'll be doing this morning. I'm filming this vlog like at the same time as I'm filming revising Act 2 Part 2, and that is what I actually need to be spending most of my time on. And this kind of process honestly doesn't take very long. I think I can do it in 90 minutes. Like I think I can do each summary in 25 minutes. And then next week is when I will get started with the outlining, which is taking this discovery dump into a plot structure and scenes and breaking it down into chapters and then scenes and like really diving into character and everything. So that's what you're in for. Let's do it. And genuinely feels that positivity. Like she doesn't feel like she's drowning, but she is. Don't know how you're gonna convey that. Luxury kidnapping, girl. He also has some other struggle going on. I need you all to see this. I'm a little scared. Spooky season. I've been dictating this discovery outline situation, and the last thing that I wrote was, my conscience can't do this. Look what's after that. just saying hello because I have my headphones in. Anyway, I did like 600 words of outlining and I kind of like where this is going actually. It's only really the beginning, so I gotta finish up the ending, but that was ominous. Hi there, voiceover Alyssa here to give you a little bit of more information about what is going on. So in this clip, it looks like I'm just mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, which I do, don't get me wrong, but what I'm actually doing is going through all my saved Instagram Reels and TikToks, because if I come across something that's like, ooh, this would be a fun trope to include in a book, or ooh, this is like something, I don't know, that sparks creativity in some way. Most of the things I'm scrolling past are like meal prep recipes that mostly consist of Greek yogurt, and then some like fashion hauls, but then every once in a while there'll just be like a post that'll be like, comment the worst thing you've ever done to a character, and then I'll just read through everything that all these people have done to their characters to sort of spark inspiration. But yeah, it really did work. I don't think I mentioned yet, but this project is called Project Sunshine. So there you go, there's your update from me. This guy, menace to society. Menace to society. Hey, welcome to the end of this video. I feel a little silly because I only did like 15 minutes of active writing in this video. I only ended up doing one discovery dump because the way that went, I was like, that's the book. In previous books when I've done discovery dumps, which sounds, maybe I need a new word for that, but in previous books when I've done it, the first one has been like, the second one has been like closer, and then the third one has been it. But this one, it's an 800 word dictated blah, you know, but it is what I want. Now it's like 2, so the rest of the day and the rest of my life going back to revising Gas Station. So later this week when I finish Act 2 Part 2, I'm gonna do some more detailed outlining, first in like bigger chunks and then in smaller chunks. So like a really broad outline and then a more specific one that'll be happening over the next few weeks. This is when I'll really be narrowing down character names and descriptions and side characters, because honestly the discovery dump is usually only about the main 2 characters and their like goal, motivation, conflict, and like where the book kind of goes, you know? That is my brainstorming process. Takes about 15 minutes. The hard work is still ahead of like actually breaking down this concept into scenes and specifics and making everything make sense and having more than 2 characters and having them have a backstory and like, you know. So the work is still ahead of us, but the idea is there. So let me know how you're outlining, brainstorming, drafting, whatever you're working on, let me know how it's going. Is this similar to how you outline, or do you do something different? Regardless, thank you for being here. Comment down below a leaf emoji and I will see you very soon. Bye!